All right, today we're going to talk about Babyback ribs. We're going to do some smoking ribs on our 30-inch Premier. We've got two different flavor profiles that we have today. My one that I normally do is Adam's Apple and plus the kitchen sink. I start off with plus the kitchen sink, which has got a little kick to it. And then other one that we're doing is the Craig's Original and but the kitchen sink. Now but is a little sweeter, so it's going to give you a little bit more sweeter profile. Now the first thing you're going to want to do whenever you're looking for Babybacks, you want to try to get the ribs where at least some of them are the same length or same width. You want to try to do that. Now the one thing also that I like pointing out is that membrane. You see that shiny piece of skin on the back of the rib? You're going to want to pull that off the rib. The main reason being is because you want your ribs to cooking at the same temperature. When you leave that membrane on, it actually causes your ribs to cook at two different temperatures. And so what you really want to do is try to even that up. And now what you're going to do there is you'll start from the small end of the rib first. And you get in there and you just peel. You see how it begins to take off, and you take your thumb and run it right down there. And then you sit there and you just keep it low, and you can pull the whole thing off in one big strip. All right? Now after that, you're going to want to take this to a sink and rinse the ribs off. Again, kind of go back to where you want to take any bone dust or bone shards that are still left on there from the butcher. You get rid of those. You don't want one of your friends that comes over and you end up having to buy them some dental work. That's never fun. All right, we just rinsed these ribs, and I also patted them down with a paper towel afterwards because you don't want them dripping wet. Because if you peel it up and if you lift it up and you see water dripping from it, you need to hit it with a paper towel. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start with plus the kitchen sink. That's what we're going to use today in this cooking. And you want to go ahead and put it on pretty generously. Now a lot of people will make the mistake and they'll rub that in. Now when they rub that in, there's couple things that happen. And you can see where the seasoning stays right in one line. It doesn't actually get even. What you really want to do is come back, put a nice even coat on it, and you press that seasoning down into the meat. This accomplishes two things. One, it makes it a lot more even as far as flavor. You get the same taste all the way across your rib. And two, when you press that down into the meat, it helps lock the seasoning into the meat so it doesn't run off as soon as it starts sweating from being put on the grill. Now for those that want a little bit more kick to their rib, at this time they can put a little chili powder on here if they want, or maybe a little cayenne pepper. They can throw a little bit on that, but remember, cayenne pepper and chili powder, a little goes a long ways on them. So now I'm going to be pressing that down into the rib. Now we're going to go outside. I've had that grill warming up. We've been on 180 now. We're going to go ahead and put these ribs on at 180. And we'll go for 2 hours at 180 degrees. All right, we're now at our grill. It's 180 degrees. Now I'm going to lay the ribs crossways like that. Now if you have multiple ribs, you can always go in at an angle with them too, or you can go in just like that. The only problem you got to watch is if it overhangs your drip pan. If it overhangs, you want to go in at an angle like that, and you can set them up like that. Since we're only doing one slab of ribs, we're going to go ahead and put one down. Now we'll leave it at 180 for 2 hours. Then after 2 hours, we're going to come out and check. Ribs are the only thing that I do by feel. The rest of everything I do is a lot by temperature. But ribs is something that I kind of go by feel on. And you'll see as we go through this recipe today together, you'll see what I mean by that. All right, we've been at 2 hours now at 180. So now this is the point where I'm going to check the ribs. Now this is crucial because you can do this, works for Babybacks, spare ribs, St. Louis style. The one trick I always look at is when I lift up, because I always go bone side down, I lift up and you see that marrow that's starting to turn black and caramely looking coming out of the bone. That's your good sign that it's time to go ahead and wrap your ribs. Now you want to wrap them tight. You don't want to wrap them loose. A lot of people just take there and roll that right into each other. What you want to do, the correct way to wrap, is to go meat side down, because if you go bone side down, you actually end up ripping your foil. Go ahead and go like that, and then you crease it over into itself, lay it flat down, and then take the ends just like that and roll them up. Once you have them done like that, now you're ready to put them back on the grill, and I will turn the grill up to 250 now. So now we're going to be cooking at 250 for about an hour, and then again when we come back out here together, I'll show you what to look for to know if they're ready to come out of the foil or not. All right, now we're going to check our ribs. They've been going at 250 for about an hour. You want to come out and you want to take them, you want to lift up from the end and see how they're wanting to bend in the middle. They're ready to come out of that foil. Now if you pick them up and they want to stay straight as a board, they're not quite ready to come out of the foil yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and slide this, and you want to try to be careful not to break that foil because there's a lot of juice in there. And when you open this up, also don't put your head over it. There's some steam that will come out and you end up with a little bit of steam in your face. It'll be a little unbearable. Now you see the grease that's right in the concave part of the rib. You're going to want to go ahead and turn this on the side and let some of that run out. Now this is where I'll sauce. Now I'll take our Adam's apple sauce and I'll run about a 1/2 inch strip through it. Then you take a mop and you kind of mop it on. Make sure you get around those rib tips, get around those bones. Then now you can take it. Now some people, you can use tongs here. This rib is quite hot, so you may not want to do what I'm getting ready to do. But you just take it and lay it flat like that. Then you take your sauce and you come back and you throw about an inch wide strip on your rib. Then you take your mop again and you put that on there. You get a nice even coat. Once you got a nice even coat on there, you're going to go ahead and remove the mop, shut the lid, then turn your grill up to 325. And now you're going to go ahead and caramelize that sauce onto the ribs. Now we're going to come back in about 20 minutes. Those ribs will be a nice burgundy color and the liquid will be off the top and it'll look like a nice tacky surface. And that's what we're going to be looking for. All right, now you can see how that sauce looks real tacky now and starting to bubble over there. That's a good sign that the ribs are ready to come off. Now I have a long set of tongs. You want to get in there and position over there and get underneath the rib, so you don't do that. But the main thing is you can see the tackiness of that side. So now we flip it back over, but you go back in there and balance it and then slide it right on top of there. Then now you got a nice rib. Now we're going to take this inside and we're going to tint it for about 5 to 10 minutes before we cut into it. All right, you can see we just got back here. We just tinted our ribs. We've been here for 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull the top off. You can see now, earlier you saw the picture and it looked kind of dry and tacky. Now it's got a little moisture look to it. It looks really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn the ribs over. And this is by far the hardest part of your cooking time of the ribs, because who wants to sit there and wait for ribs to be well rested before you slice into it? Then you just go right in. You want to use a nice sharp knife and you go into it. You can see the pink right there and right there, the smoke ring. Now the more that's exposed to oxygen, the deeper that red is going to get. And so you always want to have a nice sharp knife to go down there through that rib. To me, the best part of the ribs, the best section of the slab of baby backs is always the end, this last piece that I'm cutting. To me, these two ribs right here are my favorite ribs. Now you're going to want to go ahead and let them rest for a little bit, but I've already let them rest. We're ready to eat. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite. That's a great rib. I am biased since I am the one that cooked them, but see where I bit? And see how clean that bone is right where I pulled away? And none of the meat came with it? That's a really good rib, really good texture for what you're wanting to come out with. Now they're just as tender and just as juicy as whenever you pull them out and you can twist the bone and pull them out. Well, this is the way I like cooking my ribs, because then it doesn't fall on your face and burn your cheek or your chin or fall down the front of your shirt. But thanks for paying attention to us today and learning how to do baby back ribs with us. If you ever got any questions, you can reach us at smokinbrothers.com, send us an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.